My name is Victoria Stilwell and I'm a dog trainer and behaviour counsellor. I have a show called It's Me or the Dog, and my show now is around 50 countries around the world, and it gives advice to dog parents about how to teach and allow your dog to be successful in your home. And it does so in a very kind and humane way. And a lot of people just see me on the show, but they don't realize or they don't know of the path that I took to get to my show. So here's the story. And I've always loved dogs, but I was never allowed a dog when I was growing up. And I used to put notes under my dad's pillow to say, "Please, Dad, can I have a dog?" And he never let me because he didn't like them. But my grandmother bred beagles, and she was a very small breeder. She really loved her breed, and so we spent a lot of time with my grandmother in the country. And I'd be fascinated by these litters of puppies that would come along, and how dedicated she was in finding these pups good homes and following up with them, and really, really dedicated to her dogs, which annoyed my father considerably. And I became an animal lover, so I always tried to get myself involved with rescue shelters and helping out rescue shelters and walking dogs and things like that. But I also wanted to become the most famous actress in the world. So I decided really from a young age, about age of 6, to pursue acting. And I did that. I did a degree in performing arts, and then I went to drama school, and after that I started working as an actor and did many different kinds of plays and a few films and televisions and voiceovers. And but in order for myself to earn money, to live, as an actor, when you're starting out, you always need to have your support job. And my support job was walking dogs. And I started my dog walking business with one dog, walking one dog a day. And at the end of 1 month, I had 20 dogs a day. And I really, from there, I met trainers and behaviourists and became fascinated in the way the dogs learned. And I used to walk all my dogs on Wimbledon Common, 10 at a time. And it was a very large space, and at that time you could have all your dogs off leash. And so none of the dogs ever ran away, and they never fought, and there was never an issue. And I remember a trainer coming up to me and saying, "Do you ever wonder why this is? Why these dogs just sort of follow you?" And no, I'd never even kind of investigated it or thought about it. But it really put the seed in my mind. And then I began to study and work with mentors, went to seminars, just really tried to educate myself. I started training dogs here in England, and then I went over to America, and as I was married to an American, and I settled in Manhattan, and that's where I started my dog business, my training business. So I had a training business in Manhattan, and then I had a training business in New Jersey. So I was a trainer for a good 9 years before I came up with the idea of my show. And the reason why I came up with the idea of my show is because I was sick of seeing the huge waste of life in especially the municipal shelters of Manhattan and the 5 boroughs. The year before I got to Manhattan, in 1998, around 67,000 dogs and cats went through the municipal shelters of Manhattan and the 5 boroughs. And out of those 67,000 dogs and cats, 40,000 of those were euthanized. And so a lot of these animals were coming to shelters, not just because of irresponsible breeding and neglect and abuse, but also because of behavior problems. People didn't know how to deal with it. So I wanted to be able to give the message out to a larger audience. And I did that by my show. And one night, I was watching the first episode of The Super Nanny. And I looked at the television and I thought, I do that with dogs. I admired Joe Frost's approach, and I thought, you know, that's it, firm but fair. So I emailed the producers, and the next day they called me. I said, I have a great idea for a new show. And 3 months later we were filming the pilot. And then that's 7 years ago. And now I've just finished filming my 8th season in New York City. And it's, as I said, around 50 countries around the world. I've written 2 books. I'm writing a 3rd. And I now have a training organization called Victoria Stilwell Positively Dog Training. And my team of about 65 trainers so far, it's growing all the time. People know that if they are going to have a Victoria Stilwell positivity dog trainer, that they're going to have somebody who's going to come into their home that's very knowledgeable, very good, and is going to use humane methods with their dog. So I love what I do. I'm passionate about dogs. I'm passionate about humane treatment and spreading the word about positive reinforcement. When I was learning and studying about dogs, there were a couple of people that I really looked up to. One of them was Dr. Ian Dunbar, another one was Dr. Patricia McConnell, Dr. Karen Pryor. These people, real game changers in the whole dog training industry. And since then I've met them all, and they're all as amazing as I thought they were, but they really solidified my understanding, my belief that these animals should be treated with dignity, with respect, and that I wanted to join in their kind of quest on being able to give the right kind of information to people. Because still out there now, there are so many trainers that are advocating confrontational methods that are really harsh and really sad when I see a dog going through what it's going through when it's supposedly trying to learn how to be a confident, happy, healthy adult. And so Patricia McConnell and Dunbar and Karen Pryor, they really understand. And they're the game changers in this whole industry, and they understand the need to be able to get that information out there. I'm just the lucky one to be able to have had the idea to get a show. And I take that very seriously. For me, yes, of course it's got to be entertaining. Yes, of course we have crazy animals and we have crazy dogs, crazy people. But for me, the most important reason for my show is to get that information and that message out there. You know what? You don't need to relinquish your dog to a shelter, because there are things that you can do to help your dog be successful in your home. I have a very exciting future ahead of me. There's a lot of campaigns that I'm still working on and hopefully bringing to the forefront. Of course, there's going to be more dog shows, there's going to be more television shows about dogs, morphing from training into other areas, a lot more presenting. And I'm also very excited because I'm bringing out the Victoria Stilwell Positively Dog products. And these are products that have been specially designed by me that I think that the industry is lacking. And I've designed them so that they are comfortable for the dog and for the person to use. And I'm all into providing mental stimulation for these animals, because I see so many behavior problems arise because the dog is just bored. So much anxiety arises because the dog just spends most of its time lying on the sofa or on its bed most of the day. And the dog feels isolated because the humans have to go out and work. So a lot of my toys that I've designed are designed to give that dog a lot of mental stimulation and be fun for dog and the human to use. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also expanding my Victoria Stilwell Positively Dog Training team here in Britain. And if you're interested in becoming a Victoria Stilwell Positively Dog Training part of our team, you have to have had quite a lot of experience and you have to go through quite a rigorous assessment process. But if you're part of the team, you not only are extending the whole idea and being able to bring the whole idea of positive reinforcement training out to a larger audience, but it's also going to help your business as well to become more profitable. So it's a sort of two-pronged thing. Yes, it's more working in rescue shelters. I really believe that even though I do what I do, and yes, I am very busy and I travel the world, and I think I've been on a plane 60 times this year, that I still work in rescue shelters, because especially where I live, there's so many places that need help. So my voluntary work is extremely important, not just with the homeless pets clubs, but and with the kids, but also with the dogs in the shelters themselves.